Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 26, the Season 2 finale, the Jem'Hadar. Great episode, amazing. One of my favorite, probably in my top 10 favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine. So I want to tell a story, because I've told this story before if you guys have seen my other reviews, especially the What We Left Behind. I talk about this a lot, but I'll tell it again, because who loves telling stories? So, growing up, I grew up mostly, I loved The Next Generation, which, I mean, who didn't? And then I loved Voyager, because that's actually the one that I grew up with the most. So those were my two big Star Trek shows. And then as an adult, I'm the type of guy where I like to own everything. I have like a huge movie collection. And so I bought The Next Generation right away, and then I bought Voyager right away. I went to the original series, the animated series, all of that, and then I could never say, like, I have the complete collection because I never had Deep Space Nine. And I hated Deep Space Nine growing up. I thought it was awful and slow and boring because I never did anything. And my dad loved it, but I couldn't get into it. The only thing I ever saw that I actually remember was the bird flying into Odo, and I was like, this is stupid. So as an adult, I was like, fine, I'll just buy it so that way I have the complete collection. So I did, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to own it, I may as well watch it. So I tried to watch it, and just episode after episode after episode, I just kept like getting sucked into it, and I just was addicted to the show, and I was so enamored. I was like, this is such a good show. And like, how did I hate this as a kid? Which realistically, it does kind of make sense, because as a kid, I could watch The Next Generation and then just some other random episode of The Next Generation and not need that connection. Be like, this is just a fun TV show. Whereas Deep Space Nine, you kind of need that understanding where it's all about the story arcs. And it's just, I mean, Deep Space Nine was so far ahead of its time with storytelling that, like, as a kid, I just could not comprehend that type of storytelling. So it would make sense that I just thought it was boring. So as an adult, I just started watching it, and I was like, this is such a good show. And then I got to this episode, and this is the episode that really, I was like, okay, I am a Deep Space Nine fan. Like, this is great. So for some of you, like, probably saw the twist from the very beginning, and you knew what was going to happen. I don't know, maybe it's because I was so enamored and I was so into this episode, I didn't see it coming. Like, I was totally blown away by the end, and I was like, this is so good. And then it just kept getting better. So I want to start kind of from the beginning. I jumped everywhere, but so from the beginning, it's just a fun episode. Like, you don't even know how serious of an episode it's going to be, because the beginning is so fun, where we see Sisko and Jake, and they just want to go have a fun time, or at least Sisko does. And he's like, Jake, why don't we go out to the Gamma Quadrant, do some exploring, some science projects for Keiko. So Jake invites Nog, because they're best friends, and Nog tells Quark, and Quark wants to set up, like, basically free advertising around the station, and Sisko says no. So Quark's like, hey, if I go, maybe he'll, like, change his mind, because we'll become best friends. So they go, and they're camping, and it's just kind of fun, because it's just Quark complaining, and he's rubbing the lotion on his lobes, and it's just an overall kind of a fun episode. Well, from here, an alien comes out, and she's being chased by the Jem'Hadar, who are these massive soldiers. And to be 100% honest, the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, they're just ripping off the Klingons. And one of the Jem'Hadar even says, like, I wish you guys had been Klingons. And I was like, oh, weird. Because, I mean, the Next Generation and the original series had the Klingons, which were the big bad, like, I'll fuck you up type characters. And now Deep Space Nine has the Jem'Hadar, and they're almost the same. So they meet Eris, who's this character, and she's kind of telepathic. She has some sort of power, but she has a collar on that's inhibiting her from doing that. So they throw Eris, Quark, and Sisko into this cell. Jake and Nog escape. And, I mean, there's a whole weird subplot about them being, like, in a runabout, but whatever. And so, first of all, these three are in a cell. And if you notice, they took their comm badges, so theoretically, they don't have that universal translator, so the three of them should not have been able to communicate, which, little blooper, but I can live with it. So we find out that the Jem'Hadar are the soldiers for the Dominion, and Quark kind of perks up, and he's like, oh, the Ferengi have been in negotiations for like a year with the Dominion. And that kind of goes back to the Grand Nagus episode where he wants all of that berry wine. And slowly, like, they find a way to escape and they get out of there. Jake and Nog find the Odyssey, which is a Galaxy-class starship, which ends up getting destroyed by the Dominion force, by these Jem'Hadar. And you can clearly tell that they purposely destroyed the Odyssey just to be like, hey, if you think like Deep Space Nine is just like a bunch of wimps and they just can't handle these people, and oh, if Picard was here, Picard would do something. Guess again, they just destroyed the same class of starship as the Enterprise D. So you can kind of tell that that's what they were going for, and it has the effect that they wanted, because you see that Odyssey, they do like a suicide run into it and it explodes, and you're like, damn, like these people are serious. Overall, it's a great episode. We learn more about the Dominion. We're learning all about all these new characters in the Gamma Quadrant. And finally, when we get to the end, it turns out that this character, Eris, like, she was never actually being inhibited. She was actually in control of the Jem'Hadar, and she was basically being like an undercover agent to kind of come over to our side and see what's going on. What are all of these people about? It's a fantastic episode. This episode was so well done. I loved it. This is the episode that really got me into Deep Space Nine. So like I said, for those who have seen this one, did you see Eris being a Vorta at the end, or did that completely catch you off guard? Did you like this episode? Did you like the Jem'Hadar? Go ahead, let me know what you guys think about this episode. I could talk about this episode for hours. I should probably have done this a live episode, but it's okay. I'll probably do the next one live, because next time I will see you guys for Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2, The Search. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for the subscriptions. Thank you guys for everything. I will see you guys next time.